Okay, today we are going to talk about part 7 of our genetics notes. And part 7 is dealing with incomplete dominance or codominance. So our objective for this section is, number one, to be able to perform a Punnett square and tell the genotypes and phenotypes of incomplete or codominance. Now, first of all, we need to understand what codominance is. So, on page 29 of our interactive notebook, let's go ahead and read the introductory paragraph. It states, in 4 o'clock flowers, the allele for flower color are both equal, therefore, neither dominates the other. We call this condition incomplete dominance or codominance, and it violates Mendel's principle of dominance. All Mendel's principle of dominance states, if you remember, is that one thing was dominant over the other. So the allele had a dominant and a recessive. Well, this is not the case, so it does not obey Mendel's principle of dominance. Now, the 4 o'clock flowers. A red 4 o'clock flower is signified by lowercase r is crossed with a white flower, lowercase w. Since there is no dominant trait, we use 2 different little letters for the genotype. So, how are we going to recognize if we have codominance? Okay, think about what I just said. Read that last line again to yourself. How do we know whether we have codominance or not? Can anybody answer that question for me? Jonathan? We have 2 different letters, and they are both lowercase. 2 different letters, lowercase. Okay? So, this instance, we are dealing with red and white. Now, what do we know? A red flower is lowercase r, right? A white flower is lowercase w. Well, what's the third thing? Okay? Well, we learn that later on here. Okay? Later on, we learn that lowercase r, lowercase w is what? Any idea? Well, we'll get to that. Okay? We'll get to that. It is on number 5 there. Okay? But we go through steps 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and what you're going to see, folks, is this is basically like a monohybrid cross, because we're only dealing with one trait, aren't we? We're only dealing with one trait. It's just that it is a codominant trait. Okay? A codominant trait. So I guess I am going to work, first of all, the example that you have in your book. It says, step 1, the genotype of the red flower and the genotype of the white flower. Okay? So we're crossing an RR, red. We're crossing a red flower with a white flower. So I'm going to make a box. Okay? And it's a single trait, okay? It's a monohybrid, so I only need one box, okay? One 4-chamber box. So I know that red is a lowercase r, white is a lowercase w. So when I work these out, every one of these boxes are going to be RW. Correct? Well, we learn that my genotypic ratio is going to be 4 out of 4. What is my genotype again? Genotype is the actual alleles, which in this case is what, Fletcher? RW. It's the actual letters of the alleles. 4 out of 4, RW is the genotypic ratio. What's the phenotypic ratio? 4 out of 4 are what? Pink. Because it tells us that RW, lowercase, is pink. Okay? So we work these codominance problems just like we do the normal problems. Okay? We work them just like the normal monohybrid cross problems. Now, let's look at this one right here. Okay? Let's look at this one right here. This is the first example. It says, predict the offspring when 2 pink 4 o'clock flowers are crossed. So, we are crossing 2 pink 4 o'clock flowers. So it is an RW crossed with an RW, correct? Well, you can go ahead and make your square. I'm going to go ahead and do my Punnett square up here. I'm dealing with a monohybrid cross, so I know I only need this box. And I have my gametes. Could be an R, could be a W, could be an R, could be a W. And when I perform my square, I get a square that looks like this. Would you agree with me? All right, now, as I come down a little bit, it asks me, what is the predicted genotypic ratio for the offspring? Well, I can see that 1 out of 4 is, and I'm talking about genotypes. Remember, genotypes are the actual alleles, the letters, right? So 1 out of 4 are lowercase r, lowercase r. 2 out of 4, or could I put 1/2? Could I put 2 out of 4 or 1/2? Yeah, I could put that, because 2 out of 4 really is 1/2. So 1/2 are lowercase r, w. I put my semicolon. And finally, 1/4 are lowercase w, lowercase w. So that is my genotypic ratio. My final question down here, I'm going to extend my page a bit to give me a little bit more room. My final question down here states, what is the predicted phenotypic ratio for the offspring? Well, I can just look at my genotypic ratio and fill that out, because I know that 1/4 are going to be red. Remember, my phenotypic is the appearance, the actual physical appearance. So 1/4 are red. 2/4 or 1/2 are pink, because that is what lowercase r, lowercase w is. And finally, 1/4 are white. It's codominance, not too bad, is it? Okay, it's not too bad, I don't think. Let's go to one more, because on page 30 of our interactive notebook, now I'm on page 30 of my interactive notebook, it has a new one. Okay, it has a new one that is dealing with a different set of circumstances. It says, in humans, straight hair, lowercase s, lowercase s, and curly hair, lowercase c, are codominant traits that result in hybrids who have wavy hair, lowercase s, lowercase c. Cross a curly hair female with a wavy haired male. Now, we know that we have a curly haired female, we have a wavy haired male. Now, we talked about sex-linked traits before, didn't we? So we could compare these with the X's and Y's, but that's not necessary because as I look down at my question down at the bottom is they don't want to know, the people that ask this question do not want to know whether it's male or female, do they? So that doesn't matter right now for us. Could we say that? Could we tell? Yeah, we could tell. We could say this many male, this many female, but I don't need to do that because it's only asking me for whether it's curly hair, whether it's wavy hair, whether it's straight hair. So I'm going to build my Punnett square, and I'm crossing a curly-haired female. Well, curly hair is lowercase c, correct? I'm crossing that with a male that has wavy hair. Wavy hair is lowercase s, lowercase c. So when I do my Punnett square, I put the male on the top, I put the female on the side, and then I go through and I say, okay, lowercase s, lowercase c, lowercase c, lowercase c, lowercase s, lowercase c, lowercase c, lowercase c. Can we agree that I did my Punnett square correct? Okay, good, because it is in fact correct. Now, let's go through and let's look at this. Here's the question, what are the chances of having a curly-haired child? Well, what was a curly-haired child? What was the genotype? CC, right? Lowercase c, lowercase c. What are the chances of having lowercase c? I could say 2 out of 4, right? Or I could say 1/2, right? Or I could say 50% chance of curly hair, right? I could say that. Would we agree? Now, are we okay with codominance? Okay, give me a thumbs up. Let me see. Let me see. Front row looks good. Second row, good. Miguel? All right, back row looks good. Okay.